I'm Jason Goliath,
And I'm Nicholas Goliath.
and this is a new podcast called The Happiness Economy, where we try and unpack, figure out, investigate, interrogate, I think holistically understand what is happiness even.
What is it to you? What is it to me? Is it different? Is it the same? What do you do to chase your happiness? Just chase it. We want to chat to people who we believe have found their happiness or are on the way to finding their happiness and find out what it is that makes them happy.
So, if you're happy, we're happy. The Happiness Economy with Nicholas and Jason Goliath. Tell her what you must.
Today we speak to Sam Lehoko on the Happiness Economy, award-winning radio host for a daytime show in South Africa for 2023. This is one of many. And then amazing human, wonderful mother, and just a good person. And has some wonderful insights. So check it out.
Firstly, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This is one of my happy spaces, And Jason, to what you were saying, I've also been trying to figure it out, for the longest time because, if I think of things like my career and some of the things that I have, does that define happiness?
Yeah.
And I've been actually, reading a lot of books and doing a bit of research, and what I've realize is that happiness is based on the relationships that you have in your life. What makes a good life is the relationships that you have, and of course, I love what I do. That makes me happy. Being in studio, it makes me happy every morning to be able to wake up and know that I'm doing what I'm the most passionate about.
Yeah.
And an award winner.
Award winning.
And an award winner.
What is the daytime show of the year? What is it? What is the category?
In SA.
In South Africa.
Listen, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Daytime show of the year.
Yeah.
We're going
And
to
it's
input
a
the
biggie.
pop for you.
How many
Thank
years?
you.
How many years to get there?
12 years. 12 years.
I only say that because you look 13, and I think it's easy for It's easy for people to think, oh my goodness, this varsity student has already made it. But because I think people will easily look at the youthfulness of that your face represents,
Yes. Oh,
and
thank you.
underestimate the experience that comes with that face.
Yeah. It's been a long journey, guys. Like, to be very honest, and funny enough, this wasn't ever something that I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
It wasn't on my bucket list.
Yeah.
It wasn't on my to-do list. It wasn't a goal that I had.
Yeah.
I heard about the awards. I saw people getting the awards, but it was never something that I wanted to work towards,
It
And-
wasn't
You were
driving.
in the
No.
radio space, though.
Absolutely.
So why would it not be something that you'd want to work towards?
You must, I can't say you must remember, but I think for the longest time, that hasn't been my focus. I was too preoccupied on, other things.
Yeah.
And I'll say alcohol, for example.
Yes.
That was my preoccupation amongst other things.
Yeah.
So
Did you think alcohol made you happy while you were consuming
course it
this
did.
alcohol?
yeah, of course I thought
Okay.
so,
Yeah.
And the assumption and the sense of entitlement that I had was that I can do absolutely anything that I want. No one's going to fire me. No one's going to get caught. I'm too talented. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So in realizing today that talent is not enough,
Yes.
priorities have obviously changed in such a big way for me, and of course I started off by talking about relationships, and people are probably thinking, well, isn't it about personal development, isn't it about wellness and all those types of things, which it is, but the only way you'll get to that point of having these beautiful relationships is if you work on those things, your physical, emotional, spiritual and mental wellness.
Which I think is the way you work on the relationship with yourself, which I think is I think it's even more important than the relationship you have with everyone else. I'd go as far as to say very often your relationships are defined by your relationship with yourself.
Of course,
Yes.
of course. Because when I engage with someone, what is the rapport that
Yeah.
I'm building with you?
Yes.
Am I projecting all of my stuff onto you?
Yeah.
Am I making assumptions? Do I have expectations? People talk about
Yes.
unrealistic expectations. Any expectation
100%.
is unrealistic,
100%.
right? So what am I bringing to this relationship? And part of the work that I've been doing is to learn how to articulate what my role is in a relationship.
Oof.
Because that was my problem initially, even
Yeah.
within my career.
Yeah.
Absolutely no boundaries. Tell me what to do, I'll do it, even if it's the wrong thing, So today, whether it's a relationship with my children, my neighbor, my mentor, my therapist, my friend, my colleague, I need to stipulate exactly how far I'm willing to go within this relationship.
So break that down, because I find that fascinating. So choose one and give me, for example, how you would define your role and how you break that down. Because I'm as you get older, you realize that we hear a lot of things that we think we understand. You know what I mean, and then we haven't unpacked or delved down. So give me an example. So
Can I ask?
Yes.
Because you spoke about your kids, and I feel like that for me as a parent as well is an important relationship. So like, what is your relationship with your kids, and then also what are you teaching them about happiness?
no pressure.
I wish I had prepared for this
Yeah.
conversation.
No,
before I got
it's
here.
and it's there's nothing that you need to prepare for. It's just a chat.
I want to, answer both in one
Yes.
go, and I want to start with you, Jason. I'll give you an example from a recovery perspective. I don't know if people know much about the 12-step program and that sort of thing, and I'm not here to promote that. But I work a 12-step program, and within this fellowship, so to speak, you have a sponsor and a sponsee, and ultimately that sponsor takes you through the 12 steps, right? And what people often forget is that the role of a sponsor is just that. I'm going to walk this journey with you, this recovery journey with you. I'm going to take you through the steps. I'm going to share my experience, strength, and hope with you. I'm going to celebrate your wins as well. But I'm not your therapist. I'm not your helpline.
Yeah.
I am not going to answer phone calls from your wife or your employer or, your siblings. I'm not here to do that. So that's one example of how far I'm willing to go in this relationship, and with my kids, it's. I mean, the role changes. The role changes for me, especially.
Yeah.
Because
every
they're
single
also
day.
developing
Absolutely,
all the time.
and sometimes, I've got to be the rescuer. Sometimes I've got to be the persecutor. Sometimes I've got to be the disciplinarian. Sometimes I've got to be the mom and the dad. And my children, even. Within my journey in recovery, my emotional intelligence has grown because of my children. I think, because of my journey, both in active and in recovery, my children have become incredibly resilient.
Yeah.
There is absolutely nothing that they won't be able to deal with in life because they've seen it all, right? And when it comes to things like patience and tolerance, I learn from my children. My children are able to say, Mom, today I'm actually feeling quite shy. I'm feeling quite nervous. I'm feeling quite sad. And I walk them through that process. Where does the emotion stem from?
Yeah.
How are you going to respond to that emotion? How can you perhaps challenge that emotion? I walk them through that.
Were you raised like that?
No.
What is the difference?
No. The difference is that this wasn't even a topic of conversation.
Yes.
It was never a topic of conversation. In fact, and trust me, I'm in a place now where I have accepted, the role that my mum and dad played. I accept that they could only do what they could at the time based on what they knew. That's okay. And
100%.
my mum had actually written me a letter, and she said, Sam, perhaps I knew more about the struggle than how to be a mum. And I had to move from a place of deep resentment to that place of acceptance and surrender. And it took a very long time. I said, what are you doing? You're doing so much for the country, accept your children,
Oof.
But, if anything, at least today I have that bit of self-awareness,
Acceptance is a big word for us. And so, I mean, I've said this a billion times. It always feels like it's repetitive now, but we believe that the secret to happiness was the ability to, as much as you can, exist in a space of gratitude. And then we realize that gratitude is impossible without acceptance.
Yes.
So
You can't be
the
thankful
founding
for what you have if you're not.
That's where
Don't
you
accept
insert
where
the
you
serenity prayer. That's where you insert the serenity
Yes,
prayer.
there you go.
Right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, grant me the
Grant me-
wisdom.
Well, I mean, let's do it properly.
Say it. No, I'm not
What?
going to recite
Me
a
the,
full and
the wisdom
Grant me the serenity to accept the things I
that
cannot change.
change.
and
The
The
courage
courage
to
to-
change the things I can. And
the wisdom to know the
Stunning.
difference.
people are saying that, and half the time they don't even know what they're saying.
But this is what what I said earlier about
Yeah.
you hear things, you go, oh, okay, cool, and then you
carry
move
on.
on. And that was something that was in most of our bathrooms my entire life.
Oh, is
You
it?
visit people and that thing is up in the
on the door.
bathroom. The
We knew a lot
serenity
of
prayer
alcoholics.
yeah, that serenity prayer is there. And I mean, my dad, for example, is an alcoholic. And I think, our relationship was so turbulent for so many years. until I realized that a lot of it is my fault, and I'd never accepted any responsibility within the relationship. I just thought, you're an alcoholic, you're supposed to be the dad, you've got to be better.
Yeah.
Then I had a moment where I realized, hang on, the one thing this dude has done is be consistent. My entire life, he's been an alcoholic, which means he's never left me with question marks. I'm the one that keeps putting this other version of him on him. I'm the one that has expectations of him to be somebody else. And so I create the expectation and the disappointment. You know what I mean? And once I accepted that, this dude's an alcoholic, which means when I talk to him, chances are he's going to be drunk because he's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And once I changed that, and him and I were able to have a very open conversation, it changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
So let's then talk about acceptance and the importance of acceptance in I think developing your happiness.
You know, the point that you made about expectations is so valid, especially in my life, because it's like this snowball effect.
Yeah.
I put the expectation, I get disappointed, I become resentful.
Yes.
Now I become aggressive and belligerent
Yeah.
and nasty.
Yeah.
So it's a whole snowball effect, And for me, what helps a lot is to say that I'm powerless over people, places, and things.
Yes.
What is within my control and what is
yes.
not in my control, right? So how I think, how I behave,
Yeah.
how I respond to
Yeah.
things, We are, whether you think so or not, we have so many choices, but it is that decision
Yes.
that is what counts the most, So, I mean, every single morning today, I mean, I never used to do this, but I don't tell myself, Sam, today is going to be a good day.
Yeah.
I say today is a good day. I have decided that today is a good day, And if anything, and a lot of the time, things don't go according to plan.
Yeah.
They don't.
Most of the time.
Most of
Yeah.
the time. I'm sitting, I've got a yellow to-do list, I've got things that I want to get done, but things happen within the day. And that's where the acceptance has got to come in, that I'm powerless over 99% of the things that happen in
You
my
can't
day.
fix Eskom.
Relative
The
to
load shedding is
100%.
happening.
No.
Yeah.
Can't change
Especially
it,
when
can't fix it.
everybody else is involved in what I'm supposed to do. I work with people on
Yeah.
a daily basis. Somebody's going to be late. Somebody's going to be in a bad mood.
That's it.
Somebody's not going to show up.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to, there's going to be a miscommunication somewhere.
So that's the 95-5. 95% what happened. 5% what happens to you, 95% how you react to it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And once I can understand how powerless I am over everything, that's where the acceptance comes in.
And I mean, we're not born with that. And that when you know it, you say it like it's an easy thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's easily the most difficult thing to be in control. And even I find when you are in control and you understand and you articulate,
Yeah.
you still have a day where you forget to say to yourself, today is going to be a good day.
Absolutely.
You still have a day where you forget that I'm in control about how I'm going to feel about this thing. I'm not in control of the thing, but I am in control about how I'm going to feel about
Yeah.
the thing, how much power I'm going to give the thing, how I'm going to allow the thing to affect me.
Once you remove the drugs and the alcohol, you're left to your own devices now. Now you must
Yes.
deal with
Yeah,
life on
just
life's
you.
terms. Now you must feel the emotions. You know what I mean? Now you must. When I lost my dad 3 years ago, out of all of my siblings and
Yeah.
I was the only person that didn't grieve. Everybody dealt with it. Everybody grieved. Everybody went through the 5 stages of
Yeah.
grief.
Yeah.
Nick,
Yeah.
do you know it?
No.
I don't think I remember all 5, but
I know
there's
this.
anger, there's
Yeah.
there's bargaining, there's
Isn't it
acceptance
also
is one of
resentment?
them. Yeah, there's resentment
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
And the only time that I got to go through that process and in fact start the grieving process is when I put all of those things down, And now I had to feel these emotions, and now I had to sit with these feelings, and now I had to figure out what I'm going to do with it. And for a very long time, it was denial. Denial is the other stage. Yes.
Yeah.
I was in denial. I could not believe that it had happened,
Yeah.
And the process of moving from denial to acceptance took years. Like it took a really, really long time. Everybody's cupping on, they're doing their thing,
But
But
it's-
everybody's different.
No, but everybody's different, and that process takes as long as it takes. And it,
As long
and-
as you doing something about it.
No, but when I say it takes as long as it takes, I say it like that specifically because your journey, Nicholas's journey, my journey, your siblings' journey.
Absolutely.
Even if on the surface we were all as close to it, we should all be feeling the same. You know, everybody deals with everything in their own way.
Everybody's got their own things on top of the thing that we're dealing with as a group.
Did you feel guilty for not grieving with everybody else?
No, I don't.
What did you feel?
I don't think so. Nothing.
Nothing.
Just denial.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
What do you feel now?
I mean, to be honest, you know, have I really dealt with this thing? You know, that's have I really dealt with it? You know, I'm grateful that the process of recovery has assisted me, because, you know, I did have quite a bit of resentment towards my father. You know, I think, and with my siblings as well. You know, I had to go through the amends process. I had to go and make amends to my brothers. You know, I had to. And when I, you know, went through this amends, they were reminding me about things that I didn't even know I did.
That you forgot you did. Hey.
Harboring,
You remember this time?
They were harboring angers that you didn't
As in
even.
what?
You want to say sorry now?
Yeah.
Where's my phone?
And you know, that was hard. Is this a true story?
No, I don't
No, he's-
You know, and
Different
that for me was really difficult. You know, there's so much. You know, I can't even comprehend. You know, the amount of things that I've had to actually think about and process and go through and give my full attention and energy to.
and still be an award-winning radio host.
Thank you for the reminder.
At the same
Thank you.
during all of this.
Can we at least mention that 10 times
Yes.
today?
Yeah.
No, we
That you
got
won
you.
an award for
Yeah,
radio.
yeah. Thank you.
we
Best in the
definitely-
country.
Please.
Yeah,
Thank
daytime.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
got to announce it.
Best, and I
Thank
announced
you,
it.
sir.
I announced it on stage because I'm also, you know, best in. No, I'm not. I didn't get it. I didn't get any awards. So it's. Do we are we raised in this falseness of, you know, there's that this too shall pass. Time heals all wounds, which it does. But I think it sets us up for believing there's going to come a time where there will not be pain and struggle. And then I think there is no such time. I think that there will. So I think that a lot of people are vicarious with their happiness in the sense that they go, I'm going to be happy when. I'm going to be happy when I get the job, when I've won the award, when I'm out of the debt, assuming that the challenges are going to stop and life is going to take its foot off your neck at some point. And then I believe that true happiness is achieved knowing there is always going to be pain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's that acceptance, right? We talk so much about life, you know, and I often ask, even, you know, when I'm in the coaching space, that there are 5 L's,
Yeah.
you know. So living, how much living do we still need to do?
Yeah.
How much laughing do we still need to
Yeah.
do? How much loving do we still need to do? How much learning do we still need to do? And what is the legacy that you'd like to leave? It's beautiful, all good and well, but nobody wants to talk about death.
Yeah.
Right? And we're all going to pass away at
Yeah.
some point, you know, but have we accepted that that's going to happen?
How do you feel about dying?
Oh, I'm petrified.
Why?
Absolutely petrified.
I
And
feel like
I
I've
don't know
accepted
why.
it, eh?
I really don't know why. And I think about, you know, the loss of my father or the death of my father and how it came so suddenly, you know. Where was I? Nowhere to be found. You know, what was I doing? You don't want to know.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, I even said this to somebody the other day, that the 2 most incredible moments of my life, which I wish I could get back, is when I won the award, thank you. You know? And the last time I spent with my dad.
Yeah.
The only those 2 that I can think about right
Yeah.
now, you know. And yes, you know, there's so many things that I want to achieve and all these things. But when you get the car, chances are that excitement that you had when you got the car is going to dissipate.
Oh, the second that
I-
empty petrol light comes on, excitement is gone.
Haven't been
First
to the car wash in
insurance
3
premium.
months. Do you know what I mean?
I just those 5 L's that you spoke about.
Yes.
Do you not think people's discomfort with death comes from not satisfying those L's? So I think people don't like to talk about it because at some point they believe they can't talk about it because they still haven't done. You haven't lived enough,
Yeah.
loved enough.
Yeah.
Your legacy is not enough. So is it a shortfall on that scale? Because I like Nick. it's not that I want to die right now. I've got lots of life to live, lots of laughs to make, lots of love to give, lots of
Learning to do.
experiences to
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
But if it were to all end right now, I'm okay with that. Like I don't want it to sound like a morbid thing, but I feel so grateful for all the stuff I've gotten to do.
Beautiful.
I've got to exceed my wildest dreams tenfold in the last 10 years, and have done things I couldn't imagine. So it's not like I want to check out, but there's also like this feeling that I've loved hard. Everybody that I love knows I
Beautiful.
love them.
Beautiful.
I live far harder than I should, is the truth. From a legacy point of view, what more could I ask for than I have right now? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why we are awkward about it in different ways.
Nick?
Look, I personally think that it's easy from our perspective because we've loved and done the things that we've exceeded.
But that's what I mean.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You growing up, I don't know how it was with you, but I was never taught to believe that I could be a comedian that's been doing the thing, paying his bills for 12 years, 13 years. People will recognize me in the streets, So getting into comedy and getting into that space was easy to go. I've surpassed everything I've ever expected to do because I didn't have big expectations. Like I was going to get a job, work, retire, die. That was the plan. And now I go, no, I've seen things I never expected to. So then I've lived a wonderful life. And also, same with me, people that I love deeply and dearly. I've lived an amazing life. I've still lots to learn, lots to live for. But I'm comfortable. I don't know how to say it to make it not.
No,
sound...
I hear what you're saying. I said to somebody the other day that I am fortunate enough to have lived two lifestyles in one lifetime. The good, the bad, the
you've seen it
ugly.
all.
I've seen it all.
We can't face you.
Hey, man. Sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Yeah.
And then a life of recovery and sobriety.
Yeah.
And I think we're all coming from a place of contentment, and acceptance, and I think if I had to go today or tomorrow, my children will be fine.
How many kids do you have?
2. Equipped with, enough emotional intelligence.
And enough of you.
Enough of me. I love that.
And
Enough
that's
of me.
what I feel about my boys as well. It's because I think as a parent, that's the biggest fear, is you leaving your kids behind. What happens to them? Where do they go? What do they do? Who do they, But similarly, I feel like my boys, they're soft, but the right kind of soft.
Just
the right
Yeah.
kind
They're
of
your
soft.
kind of soft.
They're smart. They emotionally.
They're kind.
Yeah. Oh man, so kind. So wonderful.
They are.
And I go, like, a lot of famous people lost their parents early in life. Then I'm like, hey, maybe I'm doing them not doing them a favor, but I mean, they could drop a rap album. They could become rappers. They could become, because the difficulty I feel of losing a parent also then just changes your ability to get through the bullshit of life.
I also think losing a parent adjusts your why somehow. Like, I think about I'm blessed to have both my parents, and if I were to lose my mom, my first question would be, so what's the point now? Who must I make proud? What's the point of doing all of this? I've got nobody's because I honestly do a lot of things because they make my mother proud and happy.
wow.
You know what I mean? And I think about that. I mean, when I chatted to Siv after he lost his mom, because we're so close, I was able to say to him, dude, the first thought I had was, so what are you doing it for now? Because I know you were never doing it for you. I know it was just about, every speech. So with that in mind, in terms of purpose, I think that, a person without purpose is generally a person without happiness. If you don't have purpose and understand what your why is in all elements. And we speak about the loss of a parent, but I want to speak about the introduction of kids. How much of your happiness is centered around them, and what does that happiness look like?
So not so long ago, I went to my son's graduation. Full on gown.
How old is your son?
6. The youngest is 6. The eldest
Okay,
is
sorry, I was
9,
about
10.
to say, what?
9-10 is the
Oh,
eldest.
I think you said 19.
No.
No.
No, I'm about to say, can you share this fountain of youth? 'Cause now-
Aging like fine wine.
Come on.
Yeah.
No.
Come on. Okay. So
And-
10 and 6, are we?
So we've got, my youngest boy, he had his graduation. And I've always had these opportunities
Yeah.
to show up for my children in that way, but I chose not to, too preoccupied.
Yeah.
Life is happening.
And, I was incredibly happy in that moment, to share this
Yeah.
day with my boy.
Yeah.
He is a maths whiz. He got a certificate for being a maths whiz.
Nice.
He got medals. He got other certificates as well. And that for me, I was proud. I was really, really proud, And I think about the environment that I try to create for my children on a daily basis, which is very different to the environment that I had
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
We've
Is
had this discussion. Yeah.
We've had it, Is the space safe? Is the space full of love? Is the space, a nurtured space,
Is it warm and comfortable?
Is it warm and comfortable, And yes, it is, And I often believe that the spaces that we create for our children at home should also be filled with a great element of, or a great deal of courage, Because remember, when you walk out of that door and you go to school, you go to work, what are you taking with you? What are you taking from that environment?
100%.
And that's what I get from even recovery, because now I've got to face life on life's terms without the use of, substances and
Yeah,
alcohol.
you've got to be present.
I got to be present for all of these things. So when I go to these meetings and I sit with, other addicts and alcoholics, etc., they give me the courage to face life on life's terms. When I hear how people have dealt with loss, how they've grieved, how they've dealt with, resentments or whatever the case is, it gives me the courage to do the same. Take that suggestion and implement it into my own life, And it's the exact same thing with happiness, I do. I come across people where I say, wow, I want what you have. But I must also remember that as different as our journeys are, etc., I have a higher power. I have a God. And whatever happens in my life, whatever happens in this journey is not up to me, but up to my higher power. Everything that's happened, whether it's, when I got the job, how I got the job, when I got the award, why I got the award, it's got nothing to do with me. It's got absolutely nothing to do with me.
I feel like that's another episode of a podcast, because I feel like I would debate that it's got everything to do with God and everything to do with you.
Yes,
So I did have a role to play.
No. So I always
You
quote,
have to.
weirdly, before I started comedy, I listened to DJ Spoo on a radio interview. They were
Yes.
interviewing him.
Yes.
He was popping off that time. Zege was still doing the thing, and he was the mainest guy.
Yes.
And he just bought a Porsche. I always tell this story. I've told it so many times. He just bought a Porsche. And the interviewer says to him, you told me earlier that you still go to the same church in the Kasi. Does that mean you're going to this church, this poor church, with your Porsche? And he says, of course I do.
Oh, wow.
And he says, in the interview, said, but are you not like embarrassed or, because nobody else even has a car, never mind. And he says, no, I go with the Porsche to show them that we're all the same. The difference is when I'm finished praying, I get up off my knees and go and work for what I've prayed for. The rest of them stay on their knees.
Wow.
And for me, when you make a statement like that, that's always the thing that comes back to it, is that if it was only up to God, then everybody would have been on stage collecting an award. But God will provide you only with the opportunity. You've got to still fill in the rest. So like for me, God provides you with an ecosystem and an infrastructure to recover. But He doesn't take it out your hand. He doesn't stop you from sipping it. He leaves those decisions are still on you.
He doesn't take you to
You know what I mean?
What am I going to do with this?
No, 100%.
Yeah.
So He'll
Yeah.
give you everything you need,
Yeah.
but you've still got to do the work.
free will. Yeah.
We are out of time, and I've got to ask you
Oh, no.
our quick summary. Exactly, but you've been amazing, and thank you so
Hope
much
so.
for your insights. So we do the Goliath Happiness Index.
Yes.
It is very, very simple. Essentially a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being terrible, 5 being unbelievable. There are 3 questions in the index. I'm going to ask you all 3, and then you'll rate them for me. The first question in the index is, how happy are you right now? And just be as honest as you can. Maybe let's go through them one by one. So
Okay.
how happy are you right now?
Considering that you
1
are
to
an
5.
award-winning
Yes.
Radio
Considering
host
that
in South
if
Africa.
you were 1 last week, you're a 2 this week.
I'm
Yeah.
a 5.
You're a 5?
I really am.
As happy as you can be.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Yeah, yeah,
Love
Because
that.
your life is full, Sam.
yeah. My heart is full. My heart is full.
Every time I see Sam, she's got a million things lined up.
Oh, be careful, Nick. If
running.
somebody sees me not smiling, they're going to write a headline about that.
No.
No.
We will go to that somebody's house.
Please. No,
We
we'll
will
find them.
go directly.
Okay, so 5 on happiness.
Very
That
happy.
makes me happy.
Yeah.
And then from an acceptance point of view, in terms of accepting where you are, who you are, what's happened, what's happening, why everything is happening, in terms of accepting all of the things that you have been through, are going through, where are you? Acceptance.
I must be careful now because if I say 3, they're going to say, but you're talking about acceptance. So,
No,
yeah.
but
But
that's
you can-
that's the point. That's the point is you can understand completely that acceptance is the key to your happiness and still be at a 1 because things are unfair, because things are
I think I'm at a 3.
fair.
Yeah, holistically. If
that's-
I put everything together, I'm at a
Everything
3.
in one basket.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And the last one is optimism. So when you look forward to the life of Sam,
Yes.
how optimistic are you about the rest
Oh,
of your life?
very.
1 to 5.
Um,
You can give it a 5. It feels like a 5.
Yeah.
The way you said very
Yeah,
both
yeah.
ends of
Yeah.
it.
I mean,
no,
like-
I can see Sam
yeah.
picturing the wall of awards. That
you know,
he's having house.
I spoke to my publicist yesterday.
Yes.
We went for
Yes.
brunch. So,
Yes.
so I'm going to say I am very optimistic. Absolutely. As long as I follow this way, and as long as I just take it one day at a time, I've often been too resentful of the past, fearful of the future, what's going to happen, where am I going to be, instead of just thinking about where I am,
Love.
at
Didn't you say love?
at this very moment. Absolutely. So, just for today, I'm happy, content, a little bit,
Yeah, yeah.
but very optimistic and grateful. Very grateful today.
Well, we are grateful for you. We're grateful that you came. What is your? Do you have a? What is your main reason for sobriety? What made you? What made you take the corner and make the commitment to yourself?
And this came like 11 months after my father's passing, so it took a while for me to wake up,
Yeah.
but life was becoming very unmanageable, and I had pushed far too many people away. When you get to a point of isolation, and there's no one to turn to, there's no one to talk to,
Yeah.
and things feel really dark, what is there left to do? And I think that was my rock bottom, And there was something that you mentioned earlier, Jason, about doing things for our parents and our kids and whatever. And I didn't decide to get clean and sober for anybody except myself. I don't think that if
Love that.
I don't think that if I did this for anybody, I'd still be here today.
Love that.
I firmly believe that
Yeah.
it has to be your decision.
Yeah.
Whatever your substance of choice is.
Yeah. And because I did this for me, it has directly and indirectly impacted everything around.
Relationship.
It's something that we say often. Loving you is more important than loving anybody else.
Oh.
The more you love you,
Yes.
the more capable you are of loving those you want to love. Because people think it's the other way around. People
Yeah.
think if you love yourself too much, you can't love others. And then for me, the more you love you, the more capacity to love you have.
Absolutely.
People often get mixed up between loving yourself and the arrogance or egotistical.
100%.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-praise and
I once dated, this guy, and I said, "Who's the most important person in your life?" He said, "You, Sam." I said, "What?
Okay, bye.
Am I the most important person in your
I
life?"
have a belt tied around my arm and a needle. But these
Well, I mean, that wasn't me. Might as well
I'm
have been.
teasing.
But you know what I mean? You are the most important person
No.
in your life.
That's it.
You can't put somebody else in that place.
And in fact, I said, so much pressure.
Yes.
How do I have to show up in your life today? Besides being the cash cow.
Me. Is he mal?